John XII was a pope that enjoyed gambling, wine, and concubines. Hey, that kinda rhymed. So first off, we aren't quite sure when John was born. It was somewhere between 930 and 937, but his name was Octavian or Octavianus. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's not how you're supposed to say it, but I don't care. His father was Alberic II, king of Rome, who in 954 made the clergy and nobles swear to him on his deathbed that they would elect his possibly illegitimate son Octavian as pope once the current pope died. And yeah, there may have been money involved in this, may not have, but you know. And a year later, in 955, Pope Agapetus II died. Being true to their word, Octavian, who was somewhere between 18 and 25 at that point, was elected pope, taking on the name John XII, and by taking on I mean when he dealt with religious aspects he was John XII, but if it wasn't religious he was Octavian. He was complicated. So John became pope and served for a little under 9 years, but we'll get to that. Things start getting good around 960, about 5 years in, when John came into conflict with Berengar II, king of Italy. Now John knew he was no match for Berengar, but Otto I, also known as the Great and king of what was essentially Germany, sure as hell was. Plus, Berengar and his son Adalbert, who was also his co-ruler, had a history with Otto. He'd previously invaded Italy back in 951. It was a whole thing. Let's just say Otto already had an issue with the kings of Italy. John invited Otto to come to Rome, bring an army, we'll make a whole day of it, and they made a deal. Otto would be crowned Holy Roman Emperor and would take over making sure that the papal states were protected. And in 962, Otto led his army out of Rome to retake the lost papal lands and to take the fight to Berengar. But after watching Otto basically pistol whip a blind kid and how badly he was beating Berengar back, going so far as to capture him and be crowned king of Italy himself, John started to worry about his own power. So he sent people to the Magyars and the Byzantines looking to form an alliance against Otto. One of these emissaries was captured by Otto's men, and when he explained his mission, Otto sent an envoy back to Rome to find out what the hell was going on, while at the same time, John sent an envoy to Otto to explain that everything was fine and it was all just a big misunderstanding. Eventually, in 963, Otto found out that John had met with Adalbert, with the two discussing an alliance against him, so he marched his army to Rome, where both of those two men fled, with John making sure to take the papal treasury with him. And of course, when Otto called for John to return and face the charges against him, John pulled that papal red card and threatened to excommunicate anybody that tried to depose him. Undeterred, a new Pope, Leo VIII, was elected, and Otto said, okay, y'all got this, and left. And of course, as soon as he left in early 964, John returned with an army, and it was Leo's turn to play fleeing Pope this time. But soon enough, Otto heard about this, and John sent emissaries to try to discuss a peace. Funny thing is, this really didn't matter, as in May 964, John died, so we're not 100% sure what killed him, but he either died from being beaten to death by the husband of the woman he was caught in bed with, or from a stroke caused by the beating he took from the husband of the woman he was caught in bed with. And you may be thinking that this guy doesn't sound that bad. Well, here comes the fun part. John was all about other men's wives. See, a lot of rulers took the whole I have absolute power and can spend all day drinking and having fun with concubines approach to ruling, and that was John's mentality. And he was relatively young when he took power. A lot of people compare him to Elagabalus, yeah, we covered him. Except the difference here was that he was the Pope who wasn't supposed to enjoy playing dice. He apparently ran up quite a large gambling debt and then used the papal treasury to pay them off. And it said that he turned the papal palace into a brothel. Now, keep in mind that these are just things that he was accused of, but like I said earlier, it wasn't too terrible if he was just a king, but he was Pope. You can't have the man who hears your confessions blinded, which apparently killed him, or murder a cardinal after castrating him, plus selling the ability to become a bishop, even ordaining a 10-year-old boy. He was said to drink large amounts of wine while toasting the devil, and he invoked the names of demons while playing dice, however wrong that is. And then there was probably his favorite thing, adultery. Yeah, he'd like to have sex with any woman he wanted, and more often than not, that woman was married. Hell, one of his concubines had been one of his father's concubines, and that's just know. But all this did end up catching up to him, and like bad Leroy Brown, he learned a lesson about messing with the wife of a jealous man. And one last thing, there's a legend or myth or theory, whatever you want to call it, that at one time there was a female pope named Pope Joan, and it's believed by some that she was one of John's mistresses that kind of ran things while he did drunken papal fornication stuff. Or not, hey, the world may never know.